Yeah.
Alrighty, Mr. Leishman, thank you for coming and having a chat with us today.
Thank you, my pleasure.
The newly named Building Bricks podcast.
I think that's an excellent name.
Oh, thank you. It's always nervous when you say it out loud. Like, does it sound stupid? Or does it sound right?
It sounds good.
Cool. Thank you very much. Well, I think, as I kind of mentioned to you, our whole background of what we're trying to do on this is commercial agent education. There's a lot in the residential space. There's a lot on investing into commercial property now, but I think there's less for the agents and the agency owners themselves in this space on, you know, what are the people boots on the ground actually doing? What correlates to them? What works for them? What doesn't? Because we try and drag a lot of resi stuff across this, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And there's just different mindsets behind it. So the reason why I wanted to chat to you about it is you've done one of the rare few that's probably had two prongs to this, where you've started as a commercial property owner and then come across into the agency space. You've also had numerous businesses in the past, and I think there's more than meets the eye with you. Which is always interesting as you start to delve beneath the surface a little bit. So if you wanted to start off, mate, give us a bit of background on your, I guess, business journey.
Yeah, sure. I left high school and I just from that moment knew I always wanted to be in business. So I've never had a job.
Yeah.
I started a business straight out of high school installing TV antennas. And I grew that to be one of the largest privately owned in Queensland. I had vans running around southeast Queensland everywhere. Yeah, wow. And it did all right. And it did all right in a way where I bought commercial property along the way.
Yeah.
And the more I played with commercial property, the more I just really enjoyed the transaction and everything about it. And I also discovered that there was just, no one knew what they were doing. It was an industry, no two people in the industry, no two agents did it the same way, knew the same thing. And
especially that stage too, I feel like.
Oh yeah, and so I kept leaning into the industry. I thought I'll get a license, see what these guys know. And back in those days, you just almost applied for the license and you got it. You're like, all right, so now I know as much as yeah. And so at some point, I made the leap and the jump, and I sold my business after 23 years, and I built an agency around looking after my own properties. Because I just saw that there was that massive consistency gap in the market where no one did the same thing the same way. There was no best standards. I came along and went, I want to create the best standards for the industry based on the experience of now, not only as a lessor, but now as an agency owner. How do we deploy what I want as an owner to the other owners?
And I think that's probably one of the things that we've noticed and talked about in the past is the process and systems you have in place for your business versus, I guess, what the general agency world has. I think that was the thing that impressed me the most. And I think it does come from that being a landlord first, and maybe even coming from a different industry that has a little bit more process base into it, which would help massively. So, but we'll get into that later. Talking about the property side. So when you were a landlord, did you start out as investment or also just owner-occupier for your own?
I've always been an owner-occupier. The first property I bought my business into at the age of 19. Yeah, bought a property in Anzac Avenue, Kalanga, and that's where we operated from. My first investment was a tin shed in Caboolture. Strata title, tin walls, tin shed. And I haven't wandered far away from that. Most of my investment asset class is tin roof, concrete walls, just, tilt slab.
Yeah. The reason why?
They're both beautifully simplistic and complex all at once. I love body corporates and how they come together to serve a purpose of the big building. They serve a purpose, and there's a reason why there is so many body corporates and in the industrial space out there. Yeah. And I love the simplicity of it's 4 walls and a tin roof. That, if you have the right plumber, it doesn't leak a lot. Yeah. Otherwise, they do. Yeah. Tin sheds leak. Yeah.
But not a lot can go wrong.
Not a lot can go wrong. They're universally desirable to most industries.
Yeah.
They're just...
Well, even see it now, like the conversion into more office space, but they're like industrial warehouse style, like what we have.
I mean, the complex here, look at the tenant mix. It's just...
so
you couldn't almost make it up in your head what's in here. I mean, there's a media company over there. There's a commercial real estate agency here. There's somebody with a trailer next door.
Thankfully we can't hear anymore.
It's very diverse.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And I think, so speaking on that, when you were getting into commercial property, was there anything you noticed with the agents at the time? Like when you're appointing someone either lease or sell one of your assets, if you ever have, or when you're going through the buying process, was there anything that stood out to you at the time when you were either working with the agents or working with them?
Yeah, look, probably they all had a lack of understanding about the variables in the transaction. Sometimes what I've come to really understand is there are no two transactions the same.
Yeah.
And, you know, finding out what that landlord is looking for in terms of how they want to see it run and the tenant type. No one ever asks the landlord, what's the type of tenant you're looking for?
Yeah.
You know, and then also matching that with the right tenant. But it's beyond matching tenants and landlords, but then what's the lease look like? What's the outgoings recovery look like? I mean, you know, there's a gold standard, which is net leases plus outgoings. I argue that doesn't fit all the time.
Yeah. What are the times that you don't think it fits?
Oh, certainly anytime there's a tenant that's leasing for the first time, that's a big leap. And that's usually those smaller types of, you know, if we're talking leases, 20, 30 grand a year.
Yeah.
And you're putting in place a tenant that's never leased before, and you're going, so there's your rent, there's your outgoing, here's reconciliation. It can be quite overwhelming for them, and especially when they're trying to budget for that first time. A lot of small business owners in that early stage, what's my monthly figure?
Yeah.
And let's match them with a property and a landlord that, you know, that suits. All right, well, let's gross it up, build it up. That might mean that your, you know, annual increases are slightly higher to account for that.
Yeah.
But it's one figure, and there we go. And everyone knows what's going on. And
yeah, like you said, I think it's that there's always a way to structure it.
Yep.
To get the best outcome from both sides.
Absolutely.
I think from the agent side, we see a lot of the time we put net lease in place because we think it's best and the landlord thinks it's best. But if it's sitting there for 6 months vacant because someone can't piece it together, what's the worst outcome? Yep. Vacancy or a gross lease? You'd rather get a tenant in there and then if it converts after a year or two.
That's right. And usually they're shorter term leases. So you get to readjust that gross figure along the way.
Yeah. So now that you've got your own agency, is that how you train your sales and leasing staff?
Absolutely.
On that side?
No two transactions are the same. And what's the broader picture here?
Yeah. Have you seen, I guess, has that delayed what's the best way to put it? The learning curve in terms of understanding, because they are so variable all the time. You see a lot of people that go, this is our way of doing it, or this is the transaction. Train that way, but then there's all these little variables that they try and piece in, or is it just kind of going in there at the start and be like, look, you're only going to, it's almost trial by fire. You're going to go through these scenarios when something comes up, you'll learn, come talk to me. Is that kind of how you go through it?
Oh yeah, my office doors are revolving office doors.
Yeah.
And I want it to be that way. But you find out in an industry that's full of people that are there to make money, it's usually pretty quick to find out the guys that are there, well, hang on, do you want to be in this industry because you're curious about it? Like you've got to want to know about commercial property, curious about it, want to have fun with it. And they're the guys that will then, you know, match make all of the parts of the deal, not just the tenant and the landlord, because there's a, you know, commission at the end of it.
Yeah, and I think that's the guys you see have longevity in the industry too.
Yep.
Whether that's reputationally and also just without getting burnt out by it, it's having that enjoyment factor of, I guess, problem solving. It really is just problem solving 99% of the time.
And that, if you like puzzles and problem solving, what a great industry. I can bring you problems all day long to solve.
Yeah, exactly. You can do it forever. You'll never get bored. So you touched on wanting to start your own agency just because you've got to understand what the agents know.
Yep.
Is there, I guess, how's that morphed from there? Did you start out with it primarily being property management in mind and then the sales bolted on, or you?
Yeah, so I mean, and there's three parts to our, you know, most agencies, I guess, or certainly ours, is that asset management, is the leasing, and then the sales as well. Yeah. And I think residential actually have a better understanding of sales and leasing in terms of residential sales and renting. They're two different beasts.
Yeah.
And they really are, and it seems to be still in commercial. We have them all jammed together.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's a sales and leasing agent. Well, they're actually really two different transactions. And I think we might see moving forward, you know, people specialising in, I'm a leasing agent, or I'm a, you know, I'm into sales.
Yeah, true. Because I think
they are different.
They are, and I think you do see it probably. You've probably seen a little bit with the corporate world where they niche down for, and I guess from the boutique side, you always argue for better or worse, and then the boutique side we've always been just work it out from there. I think you're right. It is kind of hard because they are so different, but they are so common.
Yeah,
that makes sense in terms of coming together. Because you go to an asset and it's an owner occupier that then turns it into an investment. You can help them on one piece if they wanted to sell the building, but you can't help them then if they lease. But I think it is building those teams that do understand.
It's a rapidly evolving industry. I mean, asset management in commercial wasn't big 10 years ago, and 20 years ago it almost didn't exist.
Yeah, true.
So there's been this rapid evolution in just that side of commercial real estate.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. And I guess since you started your agency, is there anything how you've seen that evolve? Because how many years are you into owning your agency
10.
now?
So
10
commercial guys is, 10 years,
Congrats.
2 months ago. So
how good is that?
yeah.
Has it gone how you expected?
I think I was surprised at how slow the industry is to change.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, maybe that can be said for all industries. It's an industry full of people older than you and I.
Yeah.
And I think as you get beyond 40 and 50, you don't like changes, especially with the advent of all of the technology that's coming out. The industry was a bit slow to change there for a while.
Yeah. Do you think it's speeding up?
I think so. When we started, I wanted to start with an electronic framework of our agency.
Yeah, right.
And we used to have to butt heads in the early days. We're talking inside the last decade.
Yeah.
With lawyers, landlords and tenants about the validity of digital signatures. And that's not a conversation anymore.
No,
but
sure.
we were, no, it's fine. And, I don't know, can we just get it signed electronically? Okay. Wet signature, okay. Like we were, in those early years, we were certainly, felt like we were, constantly fighting this battle of digital signatures being valid. And then, and the platform would do this signing and send it back.
Yeah.
We would have law firms then go, oh, we need all the pages initialed, or we need it witnessed. And just blew out.
I think that's an interesting part about our industry is we are so governed by other industries around us.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things that whether you, rightly or wrongly, whether you understand it, whether you don't understand it, if you're doing something that you know is right, or is right, but you've got a lawyer on the other side or an accountant for advising the client or whatever it may be that might not understand how that can be governed on our internal processes and how seamless or painful that should be. Because we're the same. Like we still have clients and it's talking about age demographic that don't feel comfortable using DocuSign or don't understand DocuSign, or they want to come and have people want to pay things in checks and things like that. And I think that's always the hard part with moving an industry forward is we're governed by an age demographic that's, most people that buy commercial assets. It's changing. It has changed probably the last 12 to 18 months, but it is a generally older demographic. It does make it difficult, no matter how forward-thinking or innovative you want to be.
Yep.
But speaking on the agents, again,
yes,
because I think that's interesting, has there been any correlations between... Actually, did you ever hire any agents that work for you when you own assets?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, true. So actually, I've never asked you that. So when you used them in the past and you started your own agency, that's my guy.
Yep. Look, there wasn't much to pick from in kombucha in the early days. It was Rob Ray White, and it was Darren MacArthur Associates, and they were my go-to guys for a long time there.
So you actually haven't hired anyone that has leased or sold for you in the past?
Oh, as in terms of
directly,
no.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay, and what do you look for when you are hiring agents now?
The same thing I've always looked for when I hire anyone.
Yeah.
I'm looking for attitude.
Yeah.
As business owners, we get caught up in hiring for skills and knowledge, and we then sack them for their attitude.
Yeah.
And if you hire for attitude, you can teach anyone with the right attitude the skill you need.
Yeah.
Also, in an industry that's just got so much random weirdness going on, sometimes their skill might not align with what you want to see happen anyhow. So you might as well go with the attitude, because that's going to win every day.
Yeah, true. So fair. And I think at the end of the day, people are still dealing with people.
Yeah.
No matter how much they really want to hide behind Zoom or DocuSign or anything else, or a phone even.
Yeah.
So, do you ever regret starting an agency?
No. And it's one of those things, I think a lot of times when you ask people about something that's going well for them, you know, do you regret not starting sooner or something like that? I think my timing was perfect. If I'd started sooner, I would have missed this evolution of asset management, which is the part I really, really enjoy.
Part you're really passionate about, isn't it?
I think it's the bit where you get to take, we're on that curious, learning journey ourselves. So when you bring a client along that's a first-time commercial property owner, you get to educate them, and you're like, we're only a couple of steps ahead of you. This is welcome, the industry's only a couple of steps of you. I think what happens is the industry a lot is we, agents and asset managers that don't quite know what they're doing, they pretend like they know way more than they do. And what doesn't happen then is this transference of information or knowledge. So if you're transparent about, I've never seen that before, let's go figure it out. Everyone's on the learning journey. And you do that enough times, you're like, I've seen that before.
So fair. And I think there's so many people that you've seen, they almost hide behind the perceived complexity of commercial real estate. It can be complex, but it also can be really simple. If you just dumb it down and answer a few direct questions, most things can get done. Really. And I guess the beauty that we do have is that flexibility within our framework of, you can kind of negotiate whatever you want into a lease. If both sides are happy and you can get it papered, rock and roll.
I always say that the C in commercial stands for custom, because outside of the Retail Shop Leases Act, you can almost do what you want.
Which is both helpful and painful.
Well,
depending on how you do it. But have you seen, is running an agency drastically different to your previous businesses?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we run, multiple trust accounts. There's, different acts that you've got to, consider as well. The Financial Act, the Property Occupations Act. You've got the Body Corporate Act when you're doing sales documents. So there's lots of different acts you've got to consider along the way. Workplace health and safety. The Retail Shop Leases Act. So there's lots, and that's before you even hired somebody. So, and then you've got, corporate law and stuff like that as well. So there's a lot of things you've got to consider.
And I think that's the thing. It's a godsend is having good, and I know you have this very close to you, having good corporate lawyers and things like that around you that you can bounce questions off of.
And the more you understand those frameworks and the compliance, the more you can maneuver scenarios to suit all the parties, because instead of it going, I don't go near that because I know, you're like, that's the framework over there, so you can't go anywhere near that. The more you understand it, the more you can bend the scenarios to suit the parties. Because you've got a great understanding of it.
So for any agents coming into the industry or that have been in the industry for a while, what would your recommendation be on that for them to, I guess, get a deeper understanding of what they're doing, whether it be for sales or leasing? Would it be to bounce around and go meet a few of them and ask the questions, or?
Absolutely. I'd start with why you're getting into it. I mean, are you getting into it because you're curious about this industry and there's something about this industry you like, or is it about the money? And if it's about the money, well, what's the thing that interests you? And then go do it in that industry, because you're going to get beat all day long by the guy that's in love with the industry than the guy that's in love with his paycheck all day long. I think in an industry now where there's a lot of choice, our clients spot that a mile away.
And I know you spend your weekends looking through various little things where you can find efficiencies in the business and sort things out and just learn. I think that's much the same as probably where we clicked as well. Like me starting as an agent, I remember spending nights and weekends Googling construction methods of warehouses at the time. So I was doing the industrial stuff. And someone would talk about tilt slab or tin or clear span. I was like, I have no idea what any of this means. And actually going and learning about it, because it does become an interesting side understanding, because you go, for any industry, I think even if you get out of agency, it's just good knowledge to have.
Absolutely. I mean, real estate is the bank account of the wealthy. So the goal is that even if we don't have an agency at some point in our life, we still want to own real estate. And the more you understand about that, the better.
It's an asset class you're still passionate about.
Absolutely.
So being 10 years in, we'll wrap up on this. Is there anything you would have done differently in building your agency?
I would have had more. I think the surprising thing I noticed in those early days was how little solicitors know about what's going on in our side of the fence.
Yeah.
They see their side of the fence. They give advice about a transaction to a landlord that relates to that document side of it and the legal framework, and they have no concept of all it's what's happening over here in the real world of, you know, sheds and tin roofs and tenants and landlords and that pragmatic approach and application of what we're doing. And so sometimes they can be quite blunt in their own way about that. What they're hiding is they have no idea. They have no idea what's happening over here. But it doesn't fit with their understanding of the law over here, and they let it be. I think if I was to do it again, I would have got faster at understanding, I reckon this lawyer doesn't know what they're doing. And I'll pick up the phone and go, look, this is what we're trying to do. And what's your concerns? As opposed to, in those early days, going, this is an old law firm that's been around forever. And now I understand that there's general practice. So they're probably touching, you know, not many commercial property deals a year. I now understand that, you know, if they're not a property, you know, trained lawyer, they're probably hiding behind the fact they don't know what they're doing.
Because you're right, I feel like it is that part of law that every lawyer goes, oh yeah, I can do it. More a commercial matter, yeah, I can do it.
How hard can this be? You know, and then they go and show us how hard it can be sometimes.
Yes, very fair. Cool, and that's it? That's the main thing, you reckon?
I think so.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Leishman. Pleasure as always.
No worries. I think you're doing great things in the industry, and I think the industry and you are going to have a long journey together.
Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, let's go grab lunch.
All right, done.
Cool. Thank you, dude.